Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Hello all. This is Dr. Angan Singh Gupta. I am an assistant professor with Department of Management, Amrita Vishwavidyapeetham in their Bangalore campus. This is our second lecture on consumer behavior. Here, the previous day, we have introduced the topic of economics. I would like to brief you about whatever we have discussed in our first lecture, if you have missed them, before we start the lessons on consumer behavior. Before that, I wish that you all are keeping well, keeping safe. And so coming to the first lecture, so we have discussed that what is economics. It's basically a stream of social science which deals with a scientific approach of taking the best decisions under certain conditions. That is, when everyone has enormous demand, a lot of demand, but there is also limited resources, scarce supply, that whatever we want we cannot get. But we have a lot of choices, so we need to decide what is the best choice out of whatever choices we do have. So, taking this efficient based decision or efficient decision making under considerations, we deal with several economic concepts. This is and these are known as economic theories. It's a very abstract science. We try to understand the reality, the economic reality, whatever we observe in a day-to-day life, in a simpler way, right? So I would like you to understand the topic in, through your understanding of common sense, whatever you do observe in your daily day-to-day life. So it's not bookish. You won't learn economics learning through books. So there are two streams of economics. One is microeconomics, another one is macroeconomics. I will teach you microeconomics. So microeconomics deals with those aspects of economics where the economic agents are those who takes decisions. So the decision-making members, authorities who takes decisions. Also, the economic agents are smaller units, such as an individual, me and you, a household, our families, if we are taking decisions for our families, or a family together who are taking decisions, or a tiny community, or even a farm, a particular production unit, just one production unit, right? Whereas macroeconomics is an aggregation of these small individual units of microeconomic agents. So in macro means big, micro means small. So the macroeconomic agents, or the macroeconomic theories, deal with state, a country, the dealing with different countries, that is international economics or international trade, a combination of several firms in, let's say, that is called an industry. So an individual or several individuals together make a market, several markets together make a larger market for a country or a state. So a state or a country is a combination of aggregation of the microeconomic agents that makes macroeconomics. We have understood what is utility, that is satisfaction. We will discuss about satisfaction today at length. We have also understood about different economic systems, starting with barter system, barter system, where there is no exchange of money, there is no currency. I exchange my goods and services, whatever I make. Say, if I am teaching, I teach probably a farmer's son, and the farmer gives me rice or vegetables. So it's an exchange of goods and services, whatever an individual produces. And there is no currency. There are three prominent economic systems in a modern day phenomena. So um, they are basically, one is laissez-faire capitalism, where state has no role. It's basically the market, which is the most important thing, where the consumers and the producers, they come together, they discuss, they bargain, and they try to attain their most highest satisfaction, profit, whatever. And there is no the state's role is very, 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 very limited. So it's just the market which takes care of itself. The other extreme is command system, socialist or communism, or communist economy. So which basically deals with the system where the state plays the most important role. They decide that what to be produced, how to be produced, the resource allocation, and how the outcome will be, or the profit will be, output profit will be redistributed within the society. So the state is the main decision maker. So, and that is called a command system, or a socialist or a communist economic system. And combination of both market system, or not market system, capitalism and communism together, that is called a mixed economy. In India, we follow a mixed economic system, where some aspects of the communism, that market plays its own role independently, where government plays its role as a regulatory authority, and it also holds some important entities of the society. It can be health, it can be education, it can be some resources, natural resources, where government tries to make the best practices, ensure the best practices, so that the capitalists cannot exploit them. All right. So that's called a mixed economic system. Then we discussed about opportunity cost. Opportunity cost is the, as I said, that there are several choices, and you choose the best possible one, what is applying for you based on your own satisfaction, utility, um, and you do not consider several other options. So the options you are not taking, say the value of the second best option which you are not taking, is your opportunity cost. So if I am teaching here, and what next I could do, probably I could play guitar, probably I could watch a movie, or if you are sitting here listening to me, probably you could watch a movie, you could cook some nice food. So whatever is the best possible option, and the value you are deriving, so it can be you are earning something, it can be you are earning monetarily, it can be you are earning some satisfaction non-monetarily. So whatever you are foregoing, you are not considering as the second best possible option. If I am not sitting here teaching you, whatever I would have done, the next best possible option, and its value is called opportunity cost. The final concept we discussed is production possibility frontier. So a production is how a combination of inputs produce some output. So there are basically three types of inputs, land, labor, and capital, and how different combinations of this land, labor, and capital produces outputs. And a production possibility frontier says that what is the most efficient and highest amount of production I can make for two different outputs. So if I am producing cars, and if I am producing mobile phones, and given my resources, how many cars and how many mobile phone I will produce. And if I am producing car, I am not, I am producing few car and few mobile phones, and I want to produce one more car. How many production of mobile phones I need to sacrifice? I cannot produce I cannot increase production for both the products, because I have resources, I have constraints. So whatever I have, that is not increasing, that is fixed. My resources, my inputs are fixed. So if I am increasing, say if you have got several ingredients in your kitchen, and if you are producing dal, probably you are not producing something else, some other curry, sabji. that's because you are producing somewhere, you are not producing something else, or if you are producing more of somewhere, you are producing less of something else. That's because you have limitation of gas, you have limitation of its ingredients, the vegetables you do have, and all these things. So practically you are not producing, you are not increasing the production of both. So when you are increasing production of one, you are decreasing production of other at an increasing rate. As you produce more and more of x or cars, you are sacrificing the production of y at an increasing rate. That is called higher opportunity cost. So your opportunity cost rises when you produce one particular, increase your production of one particular commodity. So we stopped here in our previous lecture, and today we will discuss about consumer behavior. I will share the screen here, and you can follow um, the the screen along with me. And so what is a consumer? Who is a consumer? A consumer is someone who consumes something in the economy, right? What is available in the economy based on their preferences. Now, when we discuss consumer behavior, we basically try to answer some basic fundamental questions. And which are those fundamental questions? Number one is, what is behind a consumer's demand curve? What determines a consumer's demand, and how does a consumer demand curve look like? In our next lecture, or next to next lecture, we will discuss about consumers demand curve. So a consumer's demand curve is nothing but the relationship, or a demand theory of demand says relationship between price and quantity. We know that when the price rises, the quantity falls. When the price rises, the quantity falls, and vice versa. That means when price falls, quantity rises. But why does it happen? So our consumer behavior would like to answer to that question, that how a consumer's demand curve is derived. The next question we try to answer is, how do consumers choose from among various consumer goods? So they, as I said, that in the previous lecture we discussed that they have multiple choices, and they need to understand that what is the best possible choices, or what is the best, what makes them the happiest. So, and they will try to understand that based on their utility or satisfaction. So that's also we will try to understand under consumer behavior. The next thing we try to understand is what determines the value of a consumer good. So whatever we are consuming, we can consume rasgulla, we can consume biryani, we can consume a glass of water. So every single commodity or good or commodity, same of anything. So a good or commodity gives us some value, right? Some satisfaction. Now, how and what determines those values or those satisfactions? Yeah, so that we will try to understand through this consumer behavior. So I used this word utility several times. So utility is nothing but the satisfaction we derive out of the consumption of several commodities. So there are two types of or out of the satisfaction we derive out of the consumption of any goods or any services, right? So I can eat an apple, I get some satisfaction. I can listen to someone teaching to me, that's also a satisfaction. But here I am getting my satisfaction from someone providing their service, teaching me. Or I go to a doctor, he or she treats me, so I am actually gaining some satisfaction out of his or her treatment. So that is also a service. So a satisfaction we gain from from any commodity or services, good or services. Now, satisfaction can be derived in two ways. One is cardinal, another one is ordinal. Now, what is cardinal? A cardinal says that different choices have specific utility values. It is often measured numerically. So every consumer, whatever I eat, I can eat 2 apples and 4 oranges. That has an economic value, numerical utility value. I can have 3 apples and 7 oranges. That has a value. I can have 10 apples and 20 oranges. That has a value. So everything has a specific utility values, which is often measured numerically. At the same time, there are few economists who says no, it is not. It can be cardinal, but generally it has to be ordinal, where ordinal comes from the word order, when we can order or rank the satisfaction, that I am most satisfied by consuming 2 apples and 3 oranges as compared to 2 oranges and 3 apples, right? So that is how my choices will be ranked, whether I am more satisfied with having 7 rasgullas and 2 gulab jamuns, or 1 rasgulla and 10 gulab jamuns, right? So I can rank these different choices, or 3 rasgullas and 5 gulab jamuns. I can rank them. This combination of gulab jamun and rasgulla is ranked 1, this is 2, this is 3, based on my satisfaction. So I am most satisfied with this combination, I am second most satisfaction with this, and then so on. So if you can order or rank this satisfaction, then this is called as ordinal utility theory. So whatever it is, so the total satisfaction we gain from consumption of one commodity or service, so that is called total utility. If you are listening to me for 5 minutes, you are getting some satisfaction. That is, for 5 minutes, then 10 minutes, then 15 minutes, then 20 minutes, and whatever total satisfaction you get, that is generally your total utility or total satisfaction. Same, I can get some satisfaction out of 1 orange, then 2 oranges, then 3 oranges, then 4 oranges. So total satisfaction after 4 oranges is your total utility. Then 5 oranges and some more satisfaction. My total utility is after 5 oranges, 6 oranges. So that is how total utility increases. Then comes marginal utility. Marginal, this word will come back to you several times. This marginal is nothing but incremental, which increases. Incremental increases. Now, what is this marginal utility all about? This is nothing but, you can see in the screen, is the rate of change at which rate of change of total utility, my total satisfaction, is changing based on my quantity of consumption of any particular good or services, right? So at the rate at which my satisfaction changes when I continue consuming one good or services. So marginal utility for product I is del U. This is delta U is, delta is the change. U stands for utility. So change in utility divided by change in the amount of X, product X I am consuming. So when delta, if I write delta X1 over here, delta U by delta X1, that means when I am consuming my first apple or first rasgulla, then what is my total utility? If I am not, like, I do not have any rasgulla, then I had my first rasgulla. So whatever, so when I am not having any rasgulla, my satisfaction is 0. Now my satisfaction has increased because I have consumed one rasgulla. So now it will be del U by del X2. Then my satisfaction will be different when I am having the second rasgulla, del U by del X2. So with every sweet, every unit of sweet, my utility is changing. And I stands for which unit? For third rasgulla, for fourth rasgulla, for fifth rasgulla, and so on. Right? So this is marginal utility of a product is nothing but the rate of change of total utility as the quantity of product I consumed changes by 1 unit, right? When X changes by 1 unit, how much my utility changes, so on. So how does this look like? Let us take an example that when I'm not having any rasgulla, my utility is 0. When I am having 1 rasgulla, my total utility is 40. So what is my marginal utility? 40 minus 0, 40. Clear? I am having my second Rasgulla, delta U by delta X2. My total utility is 85. Yes, what is by marginal utility? So the change in total utility, 85 minus 40 divided by change in number of my Rasgulla consumed, 2 minus 1. Now I am having 2 Rasgulla. Previously I was having 1 Rasgulla. So my now utility is 85. Initially it was 40 when I was having 1 Rasgullas. So 85 minus 40, delta U divided by delta X. How many Rasgullas I have consumed? 2 minus 1. So 85 minus 40 divided by 2 minus 1. So that is 45. 85 minus 40 is 45 divided by 2 minus 1 is 1. So your marginal utility is 45. The same thing continues for the third Rasgulla, 120. So 120 minus 85, that is 35. Fourth Rasgulla, 140 minus 120 divided by 4 minus 3, 20. Fifth Rasgulla, 150 minus 140 divided by 5 minus 4, and so on. What you can see at the seventh and eighth Rasgulla, I am having the same amount of utility. My satisfaction did not increase after having the seventh Rasgulla when I had the eighth Rasgulla. My satisfaction did not increase. So the marginal utility is 0. So my additional satisfaction, what I gained, is 0. So my total satisfaction did not increase when I had my eighth Rasgulla from the seventh Rasgulla. Right? Now, again observe what is happening. When I am having my ninth Rasgulla, my total satisfaction is actually decreasing. I did not like it. I am full. Right? My belly, my stomach is full. So my total satisfaction decreased. 155 minus 165 minus 5. I am having the 10th Rasgulla. It further decreased. So 145 minus 155 divided by 10 minus 9. So 145 minus 155 is minus 10 divided by 10 minus 9 is 1. So minus 10. So in a simpler way, let us understand. I like Rasgulla. So I had my first Rasgulla. I liked it a lot. Second Rasgulla, I liked it more. I wanted 2 Rasgullas more. Third Rasgulla, liked it. So some amount of utility increased. Fourth Rasgulla, liked it. Some amount of satisfaction increased. Fifth Rasgulla, liked it. Again is increased. Seventh and eighth, no, I cannot have it. Eighth to ninth, oh, it's paining. 9 to 10, I cannot have it. I'm throwing up. So simply, your satisfaction increases, but till a certain level, and then it does not increase anymore. At the same time, if you see the marginal utility, 40 to 45, minute increase. After that, it is continuously decreasing. After that, it is continuously decreasing. Right? So graphically, if we try to look at it, what do we observe? So over here, you can see the total utility is increasing. On the 7th and 8th, it is same 160, 160. And 9th, 10th, 11th, it is 9th and 10th, it is decreasing. It's 145 is towards 11, but it's just, you can see that it has started with 1, basically. So it has shifted a little bit. But so you can observe that it first increases, reaches the maximum, and then decreases. And when it decreases, when consumption of that element further is actually causing you pain, you are not liking it, you are hating it. So too much of even the good things is not good, right? So so too much of anything is not good. So that is what is we are observing over here in this example. Similarly, marginal utility graph, you can see that it is falling down constantly, right? So it has increased and then continuously falling down, and on the 7th and 8th it has touched 0, and then 9th, 10th it has gone down to -5 to -10. So this is the example to understand in a simple way that how total utility first increase, and then after a while, and then it varies. Like my amount of satisfaction out of Rasgulla is completely different than anyone else. Maybe you like Rasgulla, you do not like Rasgulla more, you like Laddu. So your consumption of or satisfaction of Rasgulla with consumption increases, and probably just after the second it starts decreasing the total utility. So your marginal utility starts hitting the 0 and negative just after the second rascula because you do not like it, right? So this is how it works with different persons, and the satisfaction I derive is different from someone else, right? And that translates to the demand, because my satisfaction will say that how much demand I will make for any particular commodity. So if I am more satisfied, then I am having a higher demand out for one particular commodity from where I am getting more satisfaction. So here I will take you through a concept of indifference curve. Indifference. In the concept of indifference curve comes under this revealed preference theory. So the concept of indifference curve is given by a British economist called Francis H. Worth, and then followed by Italian economics of V. Pareto. So what does it mean? This go by the word indifference. That means no change, right? I'm indifferent. If you give me, um, two ice cream and two chocolates, I'm indifferent from if you are giving me one ice cream and four chocolate, or four ice cream on one chocolate. So I'm saying anything is good. सब ठीक है. So if I'm saying that few combinations give me equal amount of satisfaction, then I am indifferent. I have same satisfaction. This is fine, this is fine, this is fine, and I'm happy to take any of these. So then I'm indifferent of these combinations. To keep it simple, we study it in a two commodity model where we have just two commodities, right? X and Y, apple and orange, rasgulla, gulab jamun, car and mobile phone. So it can be just two commodities what we try to consume. Now, if we are looking at an indifference curve, it is nothing but a locus, a combination of different points where we get equally preferred bundle. What do we understand by the word bundle? Bundle is combination of several commodities. 5 of A, 6 of B, 7 of C, 8 of D, 2 of E, none of A. So like that, it's a combination, it's a bracket where we have different combinations. These are bundle of commodities, and I like this package, I like this bundle, right? So an indifference curve contains all these equally preferred bundles, that whatever combination you give, if those different combinations gives me same satisfaction, then they will form an indifference curve. They will form an indifference curve. I'm showing like this, you will understand why I'm showing like this. So what do I understand by this equally preferred bundle? I told you that all these bundles, these equally preferred bundles, give me the equal satisfaction, the same amount of satisfaction. That is called as equally preferred bundle. So therefore, all bundles on the indifference curve is equally preferred, gives me same utility level. I am indifferent. I do not, if you give me A with 2 apples, 3 oranges, I am equally satisfied with B if it is having 3 apples or 2 oranges, right? But remember one thing, that more is always better. If I get more, I am more satisfied, right? More is always better. So simply, indifference curve go by the word indifference, that where I am absolutely fine with all these combinations. I have no choices, things are good, any choice is good for me. But we try to understand this indifference curve concept with two commodities, just two commodities here, right? And whatever falls under indifference curve, whatever points fall under indifference curve, will give me the combination of only those two commodities, different combinations of those two commodities, but only those different combinations will fall on that indifference curve, which gives me equal satisfaction. So the concept of indifference curve is explained by certain assumptions. These assumptions are forwarded by this revealed preference hypothesis. Now, what is this revealed preference hypothesis? The revealed preference hypothesis was primarily, coined by Paul Samuelson, and it follows certain assumptions. The first and the foremost assumption is consumer is rational. Every single consumer is rational. In economics, we say rational. In general terms, we say selfish, or in a crude way, rude way, we say selfish. That every single individual thinks that whatever is available, and if it is given in a larger quantity to them, whatever commodity, if it is getting, like, they are happy to get more of it, and they are gaining more satisfaction. So more is better. So every consumer wants to get more and more of any commodity. Similarly, they also say that utility can be ordered, because whenever they are getting more of something, they are getting into a higher satisfaction level. So the utility, the satisfaction level, higher or lower, so that means I am ordering it. So utility level can be explained by a higher utility, by a lower utility, further lower utility. So it is ordinal. I'm not, or we are not going to measure it that utility equals this much 6, utility equals 4, with this combinations utility decreased by this many unit. So here in revealed preference theory, we try to understand utility on an ordinal approach. We will discuss about revealed preference theory in a more detailed approach in our next class. But here we will try to understand indifference curve and the underlined assumptions which explains the indifference curve with the help of revealed preference theory or revealed preference hypothesis. The next concept what is explained under revealed preference hypothesis is marginal rate of substitution. Again, the word came, marginal, right? What is marginal? Incremental rate of substitution. So therefore, here we can see that there are two indifference curves which shows two utility levels. Indifference curve 1 is showing utility level 4. Indifference curve 2, which is the upper indifference curve, it's not marked here what is indifference curve 1 and what is indifference curve 2. The upper one is indifference curve 2, which has a higher utility level equals 6. Now, when you are mentioning them with number, you are enumerating them with number, then it becomes a cardinal approach. Otherwise, if you are just ordering them, that this is a lower indifference curve which shows lower satisfaction level, lower utility, upper indifference curve which is outside, it is showing a upper utility level, higher utility level, or higher satisfaction level. Hence, over here we can see that in the lower utility level, where we have u equals 4 or something like that, we have 2 points, one pink point and one red point. On the pink point, the individual is consuming x1, which 2 units of x1 and 2 units of x2. Whereas on that red point, we see that individual is consuming 4 units of x1 and 1 unit of x2. Now, what to note here is they are, that pink point and red point, 2x1, 2x2 and 1x2 and 4x1 are on the same indifference curve. That means he is indifferent with these two options. These two options are giving him the same utility, the same level of satisfaction. The moment that person is now from that pink point using or consuming 2x1 and 2x2 are moving to that blue point, 2x1 and 3x2, they are moving outside, and he is lying on an upper indifference curve, because that person is now having 2, 3, 2x1, 3x2, which is larger than 2, 2, 2x1, 2x2. So 2 apples, 3 oranges are always better than 2 apples, 2 oranges, right? Every human being is rational. More is better. So you are having more number of oranges with the same number of apples. So your satisfaction is higher, right? At the same time, over here, we can see 2 apples and 2 oranges are similar with 1 apple and 4 oranges. Your satisfaction is same. right? That means whenever you are sacrificing from 2 apples to 1 apple, you are increasing your consumption from 2 oranges to 4 oranges. This adjustments to keep you on the same indifference curve, to keep you on the same satisfaction level, is known as marginal rate of substitution. Marginal rate, that is with 1 unit change, how much the other, with one variable, when it changes 1 unit, how much the other variable changes. Here we will discuss about marginal rate of substitution. Therefore, marginal rate of substitution between two commodities, X and Y, gulab jamun and rasgulla, apple and oranges, whatever it is. So the marginal rate of substitution is nothing but the rate at which a consumer is ready to give up one good. I'm sacrificing one good in exchange for another good, while maintaining the same level of utility, most importantly. So they are moving on the same indifference curve. So when they are moving on the same indifference curve, if they are sacrificing, on the same indifference curve, when they are moving from here to here, they are increasing the X but decreasing the Y. Here, increasing from here to here, so increasing the amount of X but decreasing the amount of Y. Right? So if I'm the rate at which I'm sacrificing Y to get more of X, then that is known as marginal rate of substitution. That also differs from person to person. If I like rasgulla more and gulab jamun less, then to get one more rasgulla, I am happy to sacrifice a larger amount of gulab jamun. But if you are liking rasgulla less and gulab jamun more, then to have one extra unit of rasgulla, you will not sacrifice a larger amount of gulab jamun, because you like gulab jamun and you do not like rasgulla much. So to get one extra unit of rasgulla, why will you sacrifice gulab jamun? You won't, right? So whenever you are trying to get one extra unit of rasgulla, how many units of gulab jamun you are sacrificing? The person who loves rasgulla, they will not sacrifice much of gulab jamun. The person who loves gulab jamun, they will not sacrifice many gulab jamuns. So it is like that. But for the same person, the rate of sacrifice, the rate of giving up, exchange, does not remain same, because because whenever, as I said, that the utility first increases and then it starts falling, or marginal utility continuously falls. What does that mean? That means whenever I am having more of a particular commodity, the amount of satisfaction I gain out of that commodity continues decrease. Amount of extra satisfaction, marginal, incremental, amount of extra satisfaction I am getting continue to decrease. Therefore, whatever I try to understand, whatever I try to gain out of one satisfaction, whatever amount of satisfaction I try to gain out of one commodity, that does not remain same. So when I have lesser amount of one commodity, I will try to sacrifice lesser amount, more amount of another commodity, because I am desperate to get the commodity one. I do not have much of commodity one. I will like to have more of commodity one, and instead I have a lot of commodity two. So I do not have much of commodity one. I'll just go back. Maybe this example, when I'm moving from 0 to 1, or say 1 to 2, with 1 unit of X, I had 60 units of Y, and which 2 units of X, I am having 40 units of Y. So how many did I sacrifice? On the right hand side, you can see that X is 1 to 2. Amount of X sacrificed while they moved from 1 to 2 is 1. Y, when they were sacrificing, they were consuming 1X, they were consuming 60 of Y. They are consuming 2X, they are consuming 40 of y, right? So how many y they sacrificed? It is minus 20. When they are moving from 2 to 3, how many they are sacrificing? Now with 3 of x, they are having 27 of y. So how many they sacrifice? 13. 4 of x, how many y they are having? 20. So they are sacrificing 7. So the marginal rate of substitution does not remain same for even a single consumer. I will come back here. So this marginal rate of substitution explains the the convexity, the shape of indifference curve, which is nothing but the convex to the origin, because it is, the rate of substitution decreases. It is called diminishing marginal rate of substitution. Diminishing marginal rate of substitution, when the rate of substitution is decreasing with the consumption of x at the rate at which they are sacrificing y, then that rate continuously decrease, and when it decreases, then it gives a convex shape to the indifference curve. And now, continuing with the assumptions, the next assumption says that consumers' behavior is consistent. So the reveal preference theory says that if they reveal, they let you know, they tell, they disclose that they prefer A more than B, and that remains same throughout. At least as long as we are discussing his case or her case. So then for that person, B cannot be greater than A as long as they have stated that A greater than B, and it remains constant. Because we assume that the person is sane, he has taken the best decision, understanding his knowledge, his ability, and it does not change very frequently. So for the time period, for that analysis, he is consistent, and his preference for A is more than B, and it remains same. The same is the next one is theory of transitivity. What is theory of transitivity? If A is greater than B, so if that person says the combination he gets for A, that combination A for two different items, if that gives him higher satisfaction than the combination at B, if combination at A gives him the higher satisfaction of combination of B, and similarly combination of B gives him higher satisfaction than combination of C, then combination of A should give higher satisfaction than combination of C. So A greater than B, and if B greater than C, then A should also be greater than C. This is called as theory of transitivity. Then consumer scale of preference, whatever their preference, is completely independent of his whatever I am earning. So a person who, like, if Ambani, he can like Rasgulla, he earns in crores. A person, if it is me, I earn only 10,000 rupees in a month, I can also like Rasgulla. So the likeness, the preference does not depend upon the income I do have or the price. Even if it is 5 rupees, even if it is 10 rupees, if I like Rasgulla, I like Rasgulla. Now, when we bring this income and price concept, then we'll try to understand that how many I will buy or I can afford, right? So here we are talking about only preference, that I like this, I prefer to have this. I am not talking about whether I can afford this, I can buy it, I can consume it. I am just saying that an individual's preference is independent of everything. He likes it or she likes it. Whatever the price, whatever the income. The price and income will determine how many, whether at all they can achieve that or how many they can achieve that. So this all together explains the satiety or non-satiety. Satiety, S-A-T-I-E-T-Y, it says that a consumer will have complete or will try to attain complete satisfaction, full satisfaction. Non-satiety says a consumer does not always achieve satiety. They are always in us, in some kind of non-satiety. That means the consumer is yet to attain his or her full satisfaction. They will try to get more and more. Selfish, rational, whatever you say, they will try to get more and more. Yes, so more is again better. So the indifference curve theory assumes that consumer has not yet reached his or her the point of full satisfaction. Yes, and finally the axiom of revealed preference works under budgetary constraint. Even if I have revealed my preference, but it should, it will be always in practical sense will be under budgetary constraints. So I have revealed my preference, but whether I can have it or not, that will be determined by my income, how much I earn, and also by the prices. I can afford a 10 rupees rasgulla. If someone says that this rasgulla is made of gold and it costs 10,000 rupees, I will not be able to afford that. So it's not about my income, it's also about the price of that commodity, right? My income may be high. If someone says, okay, you can buy this car, and I said, yeah, I can buy this car, bank will give me loan and can repay that loan. And then that person says that this car is 1 crore rupees. Will I be able to buy that? I will not be able to buy that. I say, though, okay, fine. I like this car. I have income to buy certain car, but not this car. Yes. So this is how it works, right? So again, coming back to marginal rate of substitution, that marginal rate of substitution is nothing but the slope of the indifference curve, right? So at which, delta y by delta x, that when you are increasing 1 unit of x, you are increasing the satisfaction of 1 unit of x, how many y you are sacrificing, you are giving up, right? So the change in x, 1 unit x extra, how many y you are sacrificing, right? It is also measured as the ratio of marginal utility of x divided by marginal utility of y when it is x comma y. Okay, it is basically delta y, change in y with respect to change in x. But whenever you are talking about marginal utility, it will be marginal utility of x, just ulta, divided by marginal utility of y, right? Why I have shown you that marginal utility is nothing but delta u by delta x, change in u by change in extra unit of x, divided by change in utility, total utility, divided by 1 extra unit of y. That is marginal utility of y and marginal utility of x, right? Now if we are, as this is also shown over here, and if we are trying to if cancel it out, so you can see that delta u by delta y, it is under division, so it becomes delta y by delta u, and delta u cancels, and it is delta y by delta x. All right, and minus, of course, because minus shows that it is diminishing, it is downward sloping. At the same time, diminishing, that minus 20, minus 13, minus 7, I'm coming here. At the same time, if we start with delta y by delta x, then you divide both the sides, delta y divided by delta u, delta x divided by delta u. So if it is 5 by 3, you can do 5 by 2 divided by 3 by 2. Both the sides you are dividing by 2, right? It says the same thing, 5 by 3. So similarly, delta y by delta x, you are dividing by the same thing in the numerator as well as in the denominator, delta y by delta u, delta x by delta u, and then change it, delta u by delta x and delta u by delta y. So whenever you are, you are making a reciprocal of it, you are making an invert of this, so what happens, that it becomes delta u by delta x divided by delta u by delta y. Yes, and hence we see that marginal utility of x divided by marginal utility of y, the minus sign says that it's a negative slope. Same thing we can observe in that right panel, that when we are increasing one extra unit of X, my consumption of my sacrificing rate of Y, exchange rate of Y decreases, rate decreases. So -20, -13, -7. Now, why it is decreasing? That is basically when I am having more of X, I am having very less amount of Y. I started with 60 of Y and 1 of X. So I have too many of Y. So if I want to have one extra unit of X, which I do not have many in number, I have just one X. So if I want to have one extra unit of X from 1 to 2, how many Ys I am sacrificing, right? I am ready to sacrifice at a larger quantity, that I have enough of Y. Yes, with this many Y, I am not getting enough satisfaction, because my marginal utility of Y, too many Y, is also decreasing my total utility. So I don't want that many of Y. So I am sacrificing at a higher number. 20 I am giving away to get just one unit of X. Now I want another unit of X. How many I am sacrificing? From 40 to 27, 13. Now another unit of X, 3 to 4, 27, it comes to 27 I'm sacrificing. But now why it is decreasing? Similarly, as I was having only one, now I am having 4 X's, so many X's. So my satisfaction out of X is also decreasing. My Y is now decreasing in number. From 62 it has come back to 27 and then 20. So I do not have much Y. Now if I do not have a good amount of stock of Y, I do not want to give a lot of Y. So to get one, now I am having enough of X. To get one extra amount of unit of X, I do not want to sacrifice larger unit of Y. Just taking an example, you have enough of dal pulses and little of rice. So to get more of rice, you will say that, okay, you take pulses, I have enough. You take pulses and give me 2 bags. So you have now 1 bag of rice and 60 kg of pulses. 1 bag consists, say, 15 kg of rice and 60 kg of pulses. You say that, okay, you take 20 kg of pulses, you take, but give me 1 extra bag. So now you are having 2 bags and 40 kg of pulses. Now again someone says, will you have more rice? You say, okay, fine, I can have more rice, 3 bags of rice, but then my stock of pulses is decreasing. Now I cannot give you more. Like last time I gave you 20, now I will give you only 13. The next time, now you are having 4th bag of rice. You are having so many bags of rice, but see, you are now, okay, you want rice desperately, but the amount of stock for pulses, for dal, is decreasing, right? So you do not want to give all your dal. Otherwise, 60 to 40, 40 to 20, in 4th amount of, when you are having 4th bag of rice, eggs, then you are having no dal. If you are going with the same flow from the same rate at which you move from 1 bag of rice to 2 bags of rice, 60 to 40. At the same rate, you will go to from 2 bags of rice to 3 bags of rice. You will have 40 kg of dal to 20 kg of dal. And then from 3 to 4, 20 to 0. Right? You are not doing that. That's because you also have some demand for pulses. So when your stock of pulses, stock of dal is decreasing, you still have a necessity that I cannot give more than this, because I will require this. So this is how more of a particular commodity, you will sacrifice lesser and lesser of the other commodity, right? And when you have less of one commodity, you will be ready to sacrifice more of the other commodity, because you will try to gain more of that commodity where you have less, and you are ready to sacrifice that commodity at a higher level, at a higher rate, where you have plenty. Understand? So there are certain fundamental concepts associated with indifference curve, and first, to start with, that two indifference curves cannot intersect each other, right? So the first indifference curve over here, IC1, if you see, and you can see that at IC1 at point A, you are having 7 of x and 5 of y, and point B, you are having 10 of x and 2 of y, right? So A and B gives you equal amount of satisfaction. At IC2, they are intersecting each other. You are having at point A, you are having 7 of x and 5 of y. At point C, you are having 10 of x and 4 of y. Again, they are belonging in the same on the same indifference curve. That means they are also they are also having similar amount of satisfaction. Now, theory of transitivity says if A greater than B, yes, and A is also greater than if A equals B and if A is also equals to C, then it will be B equals C. But is it or A? But can B be equal to C? It cannot, because when on B I have 10 of x and 2 of y, and on C I have 10 of x and 4 of y, I will be happier to be at C because more is better. A consumer is rational. So on point C, they should be on a higher indifference curve. They cannot be on the same indifference curve. So two indifference curves cannot intersect each other. Two indifference curves cannot intersect each other. Sorry. So in indifference curve, we also have different shapes. So it is not mandatory that in general, for any normal good, we observe a convex curve. But at the same time, what we observe that for perfect substitutes, we have a straight line indifference curve. Why they are called perfect substitute? That the rate of substitution for commodity X against commodity Y remains same. The example I took, if it was over here, it was perfect substitute, then for 1 of x they will have 60 of y, 2 of x 40 of y, 3 of x 20 of y, 4 of x 0 of y. So the delta y over here is same, minus 20, minus 20, minus 20, minus 20. Then the indifference curve will be a straight line like what we can see over here. So it will be a straight line. So over here you can see 1 rasgulla, 3 gulab jamun. And I am equally happy to have rasgulla and gulab jamun. Perfect substitute. 1 rasgulla, 3 gulab jamun. 2 rasgulla, 2 gulab jamun. 3 rasgulla, 1 gulab jamun. So for each rasgulla, I am sacrificing 1 gulab jamun. Right? So that is why they are called perfect substitute. When I am getting more of rasgulla with the similar amount of gulab jamun, say 4 of rasgulla with 1 of gulab jamun, I will move to indifference curve 2, and the indifference curve shifts parallelly upwards, right? So indifference curves shifts parallelly. So whenever you have a higher indifference curve, they will shift parallelly. Otherwise, what will happen if this is an indifference curve and this is an indifference curve? If they are not parallel to each other, they may again touch or intersect, which may not happen, which should not happen, right? So by the character, indifference curve should be parallel to each other, where there is no chance of intersecting each other. Therefore, so higher the indifference curve, higher is the satisfaction. Coming to the perfect complementaries, they are called L-shaped, or right-angled indifference curve. So what does it show? That which are perfect complementaries? A perfect complementary will be where like say right shoe or left shoe. I cannot wear only one shoe, right? If I am wearing a right shoe, I must wear left shoe. If I have a car, I must have petrol or diesel. So a car and petrol or diesel, they are complementary. With this, without the petrol, the car does not work. Without the car, the petrol does not work, the automobile petrol. Similarly, with the left shoe, right shoe does not work. Right shoe, left shoe does not work. Similarly, car and driver. If there is no driver, I don't have a self-driving car yet in India. Google Drive, auto pilot car or something like that. So our car will require one driver, right? So if now coming here, if I have one pair of right shoe, I must have one pair of left shoe. Two right shoe, I must have two left shoe only, because if I have two right shoe and one left shoe, I can have only one pair. The second right shoe is waist, right? Similarly, if I have to drive a car, I have two cars and I am the only driver. How many cars I can drive? Only one. Or if I have one car, I have two drivers. How many car I can drive? Only one car. So one car, one driver. Two car, two drivers. Three car, three drivers. So I'll stop here. Thank you very much. Stay safe. Take care. See you in our next lecture, where we'll continue with consumer behavior, reveal preference theory, substitution effect, price effect, income effect, and so on. Thank you very much. Goodbye.